I'm not sure if everybody really understands what is depression.
Right. Because we use the term depression in our regular speech as a colloquial way of using it, I think sometimes people fail to understand that that's not what we mean. We don't mean, boy, my team lost. I'm really depressed today. We're talking about a brain disorder. We're talking about a condition where people, even under circumstances where they can recognize they have all the blessings and everything going well in their life, just have no desire to live. They can barely get out of bed in the worst kinds of situations. Their reward centers in their brains are shut down, so they can't really feel pleasure from things that they may have once really enjoyed and been passionate about. Everything seems to be flat and more so, maybe even dark and painful, to the point where imagine somebody overriding the most powerful instincts of survival to actually have an instinct for the opposite, wanting to end their life. So I hope that gives everyone watching a sense that this is really a disease, a powerful disease. This is not somebody who just doesn't understand how to be grateful for something. This is
our moods change, right? I mean, you mentioned if your team loses, I'm depressed.
Right.
There are times when we're very sad and we feel bad, and that's not what we're talking about with depression. When you go along that spectrum, what's changing? I mean, someone you knew passed away and you're sad, or so you get some bad news and you cry. But this is the spectrum goes along there. What's going on that changes someone from the typical swings that we get, or even the ones that are pretty bad when something bad happens, to depression?
Right. Our nervous system, is meant for us to kind of deal with the vagaries of everyday life. And sometimes we're down and we're up, but our nervous system kind of keeps us regulated. We keep going. We're generally resilient and bounce back. And we can lose people that we love very much, and go through a period where we're really not functional and we're grieving. But the nervous system bounces back. With depression, there's something dysfunctional and it doesn't bounce back. And people's nervous system are really shut down. The normal things that the nervous system does, specifically the brain. I had mentioned before, we have centers in our brain that allow us to feel joy and pleasure. They get activated when we're doing things that make us happy. And in depression, one of the things that happens, those just don't get activated. So things that are so powerful, things like food and sex, are no longer of any interest to people. Those are actually two of the criteria for depression: is a decreased appetite and a decreased interest in pleasurable things like sex. Things where being with your children or grandchildren, which for most people is a powerful biological pleasure. People in severe depression will just say, I'm not interested. In fact, I try to avoid engaging other people, because it is so challenging to be with other people and put on a mask. It's just exhausting for them. I see many people who, aside from coming to see me and doing maybe the minimal they need to do, spend all day in bed. I had one patient that I always remember, who was a very successful and very dynamic and beloved high school teacher. So dynamic and popular that the school had to held a lottery for kids to go into his class.
Wow.
He developed a depression, and and I saw him 3 years into his depression, where he almost was not able to take care of his own personal hygiene and stayed in bed. And he said to me, the greatest accomplishment that I think I've ever done in my life to this point was just being able to stay alive the last 3 years, because every day he deals with the thoughts of just ending this misery. So, this is, David, this is how profoundly pathological this state is. It's not easy for average person who doesn't have the disease or live with somebody to recognize it, because it's not like a broken arm or a diseased heart, which we can wrap our intellectual minds around. This is very alien for people unless they've been through it.